This is Forager, and I'm interested in it primarily because I've been looking a lot into how survival games teach you their mechanics by letting you try things out. That's something that I thought Among Trees did a really good job of. And Forager is basically all about that. It's one of those games where they sort of drop you into a situation and just sort of let you poke around to figure out how the game works. And so that's one of the things I find fascinating about it. And so I played it a little bit on Steam. And then I noticed that it was available on Game Pass, and so I grabbed it on Game Pass, and I'm gonna sort of check it out from scratch again, and sort of walk through the process of seeing how you learn. So yeah, let's go with Classic because it's the only option available to me, and hit play. All right, so I can hit B to open the menu, and so I've got a whole list of things I can build. And they all have ingredients, and I can pin them. Okay, so let's pin the top thing, which is a furnace, and see what that does. Okay, so this is saying that I need stone. Oh yeah, so, and of course it suggests building. I think I remembered that off the top of my head, that when I played this originally, it was telling me that I needed to build a furnace first. So that's helpful. And then I go find the furnace. Furnace says I want stone, so let's get some stone. It's not telling me to hit the X button, but that is the most common attack button. Actually, one thing that's been bothering me a lot is my kids have been playing a lot of Smash Bros tournaments. They're big into Smash Bros these days, and I can't play that game with them because the left face button, wherever the the letters are on the face buttons on a Switch, the left face button is jump. And I just can't deal at all with the idea that the bottom face button is attack and the left face button is jump. I'm confused. That can't possibly work, and it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so it looks like I can craft the furnace. So I think I hit B. I go over here and furnace, select it, and I build one. Well, there we go. I built a furnace. Now what? Well, let's interact with it. Okay, so I can make coal out of... Oh wait, let's unpin. Let's unpin the furnace. I don't need to make another one, I don't think. So let's unpin that. That's distracting me. So coal. Okay, so if I make coal, that requires 2 wood. Good to know. If I want to make brick, that takes stone and coal. Okay. Iron ingot requires a bunch of iron ore and some coal. So coal seems like it's really important. Well, let's chop some trees down and get some coal then. So you'll notice that basically one thing that they could have done is just give me a long series of missions. Do this, do this, do that. Walk me through it, step by step. And there's a lot of games that do that. In fact, there's a lot of games, especially mobile games, are particularly egregious about this, where they will darken the entire screen except for the button that they want you to press. And there's a reason that they do that. It is, mobile games are driven a lot by analytics. They keep track of exactly what interactions with the game players do, in what order, and when a player leaves, they look at what is the last thing that player did. And if 90% of your players are leaving after one particular interaction, you're like, oh, this is the place where this person is being lost. This is the place where we're losing them. Oh, I need to eat. I'm exhausted. Okay, well, I've been picking up a bunch of food. Let's eat it. Use. You can see my stamina bar in the upper left corner getting bigger. Okay, well, that's fixed. Anyway, and they'll basically say, okay, this is the problem in the game. We need to make sure that the player gets through this part. And so what they'll do is they'll end up making each part so unavoidably like you have to do the next thing. The only thing you can do is understand and do the next thing. And they'll walk you through it step by step to make sure you get through the first 5 minutes, then the first 10 minutes, and the first 15 minutes of the game. And they're pushing out, that moment where they lose most of their players, pushing it out inch by inch. But ultimately, when you just walk the player through every single step of what they need to do, they're not learning. They're not developing goals of their own. They're not saying, well, what I want to accomplish is this, and then learning how to get there. Instead, they're just robotically doing the next thing, and they're not even learning how to do the thing you're telling them to do. You darken the entire screen. You show them. They highlight the one button they're supposed to press, And they do it once, but they haven't learned how to do it. They don't know how to do it the next time they have to do it. They don't know why they're doing it. They're not motivated to do it. And so while that might technically extend your, your retention out a few minutes or a few hours, it doesn't turn them into a long-term player. All right, so I actually picked up some coal from some of those coal deposits. So instead of crafting coal, let's craft some iron ore. So it looks okay. So this furnace can actually make things by itself while I'm off doing other stuff. That's nice. Notice that now that I've become aware of that stamina bar on the upper left-hand corner, I now can notice that as I'm performing actions, that's reducing the stamina bar. So I'm not just getting hungry over time. My need for food is determined by these actions that I'm taking. So I need to make sure that at least some of my actions are producing food, so that I can keep maintaining it. So anyway, so the way you teach people how to play a game, it isn't by just giving them explicit tasks and walking them through it step by step, saying do this, do this, do this, do this. The way that you teach somebody a game is you give them a goal. You you make them want something. In this case, they told me the first one, which was you want a furnace. I'm like, okay, I want a furnace, and then it's up to me to figure out, how do I get a furnace? And then that question comes up in my head, and then I start poking around trying to answer the question. And they gave me the one piece of information I needed, which was the B button opens the menu. And then they've got badges on the things I can interact with. Like, oh, wait, what? Oh, there's a skills menu now? Well, let's open up a skill. Okay, what's this? Foraging. Cotton spawns more often, lets you get wheat, lets you find beets. You know what? I'm kind of anxious about getting enough food. So let's learn this skill. So now this has unlocked some new stuff. So there's going to be new items appearing in the environment now, I imagine. Yeah, there will be. And so now I've got new things to interact with. So basically what they did was they gave me a very limited set of things in my world that I could interact with. They gave me a goal and gave me a couple of basic instructions, and then let me figure out how to achieve that goal. Let me figure out how to make a furnace? How to make a furnace. Can I make more iron ingots? Oh, I can. Sweet. Then they let me figure out. And so since I figured it out myself, because I had a desire to figure it out, and I was, I was self-motivated to do it, I actually learned how to do it, and I could go back and do it again when I needed to. And so now next time I'm trying to figure out what to do, I'm going to open up, I'm going to look at my build menu. So for a forge, I'd like to make a forge. Oh, I need 4 iron ingots, which I've got, but I also need 4 bricks. Can I make bricks right now? Brick. Can I make 4 of them? I can make... Wait, I can only make 2. Okay, so I'll start making 2, but I need more coal. Well, luckily, I've figured out how to make coal. I know how to make coal. I just need to get myself some wood while it's making the first couple of bricks. Oh, look, some wheat. That's a new thing, but I know why I got that. It's because I opened it up with that skill. But yeah, so it shows me... Oh, let's just make not all my wood, but a bunch of my wood into coal. So that's just going to keep going while I mine other things. Yeah, so I figured out how to find recipes. I figured out how to set my own goals. And then I can just sort of pick the next one and the one after that. Yeah, I should eat. That's true. Let's eat a bunch of these. Let's have some oranges. There we go. Okay, and so... Yeah, just keep making that coal. Popping it out there. Keep mining stuff. And because the world initially is so limited, while I'm sort of fumbling around trying to figure out how to achieve my initial goals, there's not a lot of mistakes I can make. It's like if this world was full of thousands of different things and I had to find the handful of things that actually could get me a furnace, that'd be really problematic. But most of the things in this world are directly relevant to making and using a furnace. Basically, the furnace requires stone, and the world is full of stones. And then as soon as I get a furnace, the first few things I can make include coal, bricks, and iron. And basically, the 3 things this world is made out of is trees, stone, and iron ore. And so it's like this furnace, the very first thing I make, has only one ingredient, and then the thing that its top recipes are all the things that are made out of the other handful of items that are in this world. And so I can't really mess up. Everything I could possibly do here is relevant to my immediate goals. And so I can't get distracted. The only things I can do are the things that teach me the game. And then over time, slowly, I actually unlock more complexity. Like, oh, I earned a skill point. I found the skill system. I bought the skill. And now I can pick up beets, and wheat, which I couldn't do before. Let's see here. So I totally lost track of the chat because that's what I do. That's my brand, is not reading the chat. Awesome Twitch Dude asks, will you play Ghost of Tsushima, Jeff? So I'm thinking about it. It's another, it's a big, giant AAA game, which is always intimidating for me because it takes so much time to play through a game like that. And if I end up not connecting with it, it's very expensive and I feel bad about my purchase. Not anticipating that Ghost of Tsushima will make me have buyer's remorse. It looks like it's an amazing game. But also it's a lot of time, and I like to play so many different games. One game that takes up a lot of time, it feels very costly to me. And so I have to think carefully about buying games like that. So I might very well. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be pretty amazing. It seems like it's probably a pretty amazing accomplishment, but I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to spend the time on it. So luckily, it looks like most people in the chat are just discussing their favorite books with each other, which means I don't have to feel bad for missing out on it, because we're not talking about books. We're talking about video games here on this stream. Okay, so I'm getting pretty tired. Let's see, what do I have in the way of food? I'm finding less and less berries, which is making me nervous. Actually, I wonder. Aha! Cooked fish. What? Bread, cooked fish, cooked meat. Okay. Oh, I just realized. Brick. I was here to make a bunch of brick. I forgot about that was my goal, but that totally was my goal. Okay, so I'm worried about what's going to happen if I let my energy get too low. So let me... Oh, wait, no. My energy's high. Is it because I leveled up that my energy's high? No. Did I eat? I probably ate. I've lost track of it. My memory is a sieve. I don't know what's going on. But let's look at industrial. Okay, so I can build a forge now. So let's build that right next to the furnace. And then I haven't even looked at these other categories. So farming includes fish trap. Okay, so yeah, I remember this. This is a good thing. I saw that in this furnace, bread, cooked fish, these look like, and cooked meat, these look like better foods than what I've been eating lately. I've just been eating like scavenged berries and stuff. This is probably pretty decent stuff. And so that's what made me originally, the first time I played this game, look into farming as an option. And then you find bridge and fish trap. So fish trap requires some berries. So I need to wait until another berry bush shows up. In the meantime, mine a bunch of coal because that's useful. Grab other food items as I can. I'm assuming that stuff respawns because I've removed existing stuff. So I'm probably, if I want to have more berries appear, removing other items from this island is probably a good idea. So I'm never wasting my time mining this stuff. Huh. So Raneth Court is reacting to a noise that he's hearing. He says, is that a game noise? It sounds exactly like the you got a message noise on Discord. There are a lot of little video gamey noises in this game, so I wouldn't be surprised if you're hearing something like that. Okay. Oh, here we go. So I got some berries. I got some... Oh, what's this? That is one weird thing about this game. Sometimes things can hide behind other things and you don't know what they are. Okay, that was iron ore, apparently. Okay, so now I think I can afford to build a fish trap. So let's do that. Fish trap. Boink. It looks like a frisbee, but whatever. So Raneth Court says, what are your favorite books, Jeff? Now you have to pay attention to chat. Okay, so my favorite book series, by far, is The Expanse. The Expanse is amazing. I love those books. I love the TV series is based on it, which is actually, the writers of the books are in the writer's room on the show, and even, help produce the show. So it's very faithful, but not in a slavish way. It's not faithful like, we've got, we have to do exactly what the book says. They diverge from the books all the time, but those writers are there to, basically help figure out, like, what is the right way to diverge. So, I mean, a TV show can't just slavishly do exactly what happens in a novel. This, you have to have a greater, more of an economy of characters. There's a lot of stuff that, will work in a novel that will not work visually. So you have to make changes. But they're because they have those writers there in the room. They do a really good job of staying completely on point when it comes to, what the stories mean and what they're about. And so and sort of the standards that they've set for, like, scientific accuracy, or at least scientific authenticity. It's really good stuff. And so so that is absolutely my favorite. But I like it. I mean, I was, a big fan of Game of Thrones for the past 2 decades, or sorry, the Song of Ice and Fire series of books, which, might never be completed, but it's fine. I really love sort of what's going on in there. I'm not angry that, that the books aren't coming out. I need to eat more stuff, but I don't want to eat now that I've got a use for those berries, I don't want to eat those berries. Let's just live off beets forever. And, oh, we caught something. Whoa, hey, we caught seaweed. Delicious. Maybe we can make sushi later. I don't know. Let's make another fish trap, because we can. Oh, in fact, more berries. I think we can make even more. More fish traps. More. Let's trap all of the fish. All of the fish. What other book series do I like? I really liked N.K. Jemison's Broken Earth series. Very different from the other things that I read, but so one thing I appreciated about it was just I spent the entire time wondering what its world was like, how its world is related to our world. Or is it just a completely different fantasy world, or is it some future version of Earth? Like, she sort of, like, there's a lot of mysteries about that world that just kept me guessing all the time, and I had to read all the way to the end of the trilogy to just find out what is going on in this world, because she suggests so much of a deep history at the very beginning without really telling you anything about it for a long time, and I'm just like, tell me what's going on in this place. But the characters, very tragic characters, have miserable things happen to them all the time, and which is absolutely my favorite thing. But she does a really good job of sort of dealing with the trauma that the characters are experiencing and how they respond to it. And then one of my favorite things about it too is she's got this really unique magic system that it's different from everybody else's, and being different is one thing, which is it's valuable, but also the way that she depicts the mental gymnastics people go through to use the magic. And it's hard to sort of explain what I'm talking about, but, like, sometimes when you're trying to explain, like, like, sometimes I'll see a tweet or something like that where someone says, okay, here's a math problem. What do you actually do in your head when you're solving this math problem? And for me, a lot of like addition problems, where it's like complicated addition, where it's like you've got you're carrying ones and doing things like that. When I'm supposed to do math like that in my head, I end up picturing something weird. I picture, like, almost rulers representing the numbers, and like each ruler is the length of a certain number. Like 15 is as long as 15, and if you're adding 7 to 15, I imagine a 7-length ruler stacking on top of a 15, the first 5 sliding in underneath the 20 line, and then the additional 2 sticking up over the top. I'm like, oh, it's 22, because when I slide a 7 down and stack it on top of a 15, 2 poke out above the 20 line. That's a weird mental image that I've got. Most people don't do math that way, but that's how I do math. In N.K. Jemison's books, you get to see what a sorcerer is doing in their heads while they're casting a spell. They're picturing a donut-shaped spinning ball of magic around them that's absorbing energy and directing it. And it's such a weird thing to have done, to have, like, conjured the mental model for magic, that it's just, I found it fascinating living in the minds of these people who were doing something weird I'd never done, but I could picture it working in my mind the way it works in theirs. So yeah, so N.K. Jemisin. And also, she's a Twitch streamer. You can go follow, I don't remember, I think it might just be her name, is her Twitch channel. If you don't follow her, go follow her, N.K. Jemisin on Twitch. She's great. She plays my game sometimes, and I'm extremely honored when she does. Let's see here. Awesome Twitch Dude says a State of Decay novelization would be nice. Now, I don't know. For me, the story of State of Decay is a story that you play in your particular game and it's different from everyone else's. A novelization, I feel like, I don't know, it would undercut that a little bit. I'm not really super interested in that. Who knows? Maybe someone will do one someday, but that's not. I kind of prefer the way the weird way that we tell stories in the actual game. So as far as what other people are saying their favorites are, Wearing Orb suggests, you asked, did I read Joseph Delaney's Spook series? No, I've never heard of that, actually. So that seems like an interesting recommendation. Round of Court says, I read a Haruki Murakami book in high school, and it was so strange and wonderful. I always wanted to read more of him, but I haven't. Yeah, so books from other cultures are always really fascinating to me. I read the Three Body Problem by... I'm not going to be able to say the name right, so I'm not going to try to say the author's name right. It's a Chinese name, and I'm going to do such a bad job that I'm just not going to attempt it. But look that book up, The Three Body Problem. It's a weird novel. It's different from, at least from my perspective, it's a weird novel. It's different from anything else that I've read from Western writers. But it's fascinating because not only does it just have a unique sort of, it just conjures a weird, unique world. It's all about, it's about two things. It's about three things. It's about, sort of a semi-apocalyptic situation going on modern Earth. It's about this maybe hypothetical, maybe real alien society that lives in this extremely volatile solar system where there's so many different gravitational forces acting all at once that nothing is stable. All the things that we rely on, our climate, staying the same and being very consistent and cyclical over time, their world could go from being like Mercury to being like Neptune or whatever, in terms of just like how cold it is, how far it is from light and from the sun, how catastrophic it is. It could just go from one thing to another in a heartbeat, and it's completely unpredictable. So it's that world, but then it also is telling the story of like 1960s China, and I think it was the 60s, could have been the 50s. My Chinese history is bad, so I'm afraid I'm misrepresenting it, but it's like Cultural Revolution China and the political situation for intellectuals during that time and how terrible that was. And so I was just getting all these different windows, and every single one of these cultures was foreign to me, but they were foreign to me in different ways. And it was really fascinating to sort of get this window into the world. It was just so different from what I'm accustomed to. That I felt like I needed an interpreter the entire time, and I didn't have one. But like reading that book was more interesting than reading a book about a made-up society made up by a Western writer who shares all of my cultural baggage. I'm being handed a note from off screen. My daughter wants me to share this picture that she has drawn for you. There we are. That is beautiful, Calliope. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Wearing Orb referred to a movie with an unfortunate title, and I agree that was unfortunate. I remember seeing that once, and I was just like, "What?" But anyway, we won't go too much into that. Yeah. So anyway, that's some of the writers that I appreciate. I mean, there's a lot. Robin Hobb is another. Oh, did I just take damage? Oh, I just took damage from overusing my stamina. Oh, that is fascinating. Anyway, we're getting off on this big discussion, and I'm not really doing much with Forager. So, what have I been doing? Well, one thing that I've done is I've got some fish now. When I eat a fish, I get so much more stamina and health out of eating that fish than I ever get out of eating other stuff. So I've already really sort of improved my economy here just by the fact that I've built these fish traps that give me fish that I can then turn into delicious cooked fish. Oh wait, I didn't mean to do craft 1. I meant to craft as many as I could, which was 2. So whatever. So okay, so I've unlocked some skill points that I haven't spent yet. So anyway, so the point that I was getting at before was that they start me with a very limited number of options, like a limited number of things I can interact with, and all of them are useful. There's nothing I can do that's a waste of time, nothing I can do that's bad, and each thing that I interact with teaches me something. And then they have me set my own goals, and then they unlock more stuff very slowly and carefully, one thing at a time. So like I can unlock, okay, steel, I can unlock glass, and I gain XP when building new structures. Okay, well, I need XP to keep progressing, so let's grab this. Sweet. I'm making some kind of arbitrary choices here, but that's fine. So what can I make here? So a coin. I can make a coin if I have gold ingots. Where do I get gold ingots? Well, I got iron ingots here. Can I make gold ingots? I can. I can make 3 gold ingots. So let's do that. Hope more gold shows up eventually. Gold just seems really valuable. So let's collect that gold over there. Doink, doink. And then what can I do with that gold? So now I can make a coin. I can craft 2 out of 2. I assume that means I can probably make a 3rd one out of this gold ingot. Oh, I actually get 8 coins per drop. That's interesting. So I can craft coins twice, and now a 3rd time, but each time I get 8, and so that'll bring me up to 24. So that actually, so I happen to know that there's another, oh wait, I can get more skills? Well, I'll do that in a second. I can buy land. So 30 is how much that land costs. Looks like that's the cheapest land. So, okay, so I've got this one island that produces this particular set of stuff. And if I just get 6 more coins, since they come in 8, so that means 1 more dose of coins, I can buy more land and see what that looks like. And what I imagine that's going to be is another island where maybe there are more things to interact with and more goals that I can set for myself. So right now I've got this one island that just produces this one limited set of things that slowly grows as I increase my skills. But eventually I can unlock more islands, and then more islands will oh hey yeah, there's the gold I want. More islands will give me more verbs, or actually more objects, more nouns. That's actually one really good way to sort of set up the expansion of what a player needs to learn in a game over time, is basically give them a limited number of verbs that are very self-explanatory and easy to understand early on, and have them use those verbs early on, and then expand your game with nouns. Expand your game with objects that you can use those verbs on. So like my character's got basically 2 verbs. I've got hit stuff and interact with stuff to make things pop out. And, some of those interactions are more complex. They open up menus, but basically it's just that simple. And the way they expand isn't by giving me, oh, like, now you've got a jump button. I'm betting they never add a jump button to this game. Or now you've got, an attack. Like that. Well, actually, I do have an attack. This is I think if I run into enemies, I will be using this move to attack them. The same move that I use to mine things. That is on purpose. The fewer verbs you give the player to learn, the easier it is for them to pick up your game. So basically, they're going to have me use these same 2 verbs again and again and again. But they're just going to keep adding different objects, and each object adds something different. So the game keeps expanding, but I never have to learn how to fundamentally do something new. Like each thing that I learn how to interact with, it builds on all the previous interactions that I've done. And so if a game has got a really long, elaborate list of controls, that's probably a very difficult game to teach. And you probably have to very carefully, say, like a game like God of War, for instance, you eventually learn a lot of different combo moves and a lot of different controller, acrobatics that you do to make different things happen. But they very carefully put that on a, an unlockable skill system, so that you don't have to learn too many at once. And each one, you learn it carefully and individually, one at a time, and get opportunities to use it before you move on to the next one. And you have to very carefully eke that out, because it is so very difficult to teach the player how to, and help them retain all that information. When you have a small number of verbs, but then a large number of nouns that react to those verbs in different ways, it's much easier to teach the player. If all you do in a game is jump and shoot, or if all you do is jump on people's heads, or if all you do is just like Mario, all you do is run and jump. And jumping, hitting something with your head, hitting something with your feet, like there's lots of different ways that jump can interact with things. But basically it's just jumping into stuff is all you do in that game, but each thing reacts to your jump in a different way. The turtles drop their shell. The Goombas just get flattened. The bricks break when you hit them with your head, but only when you're large. And the question marks will sometimes produce a mushroom that makes you large, but all you're doing is jumping. It's a game, it's so intuitive to learn, because you just keep doing the same verb again and again and learning what it does with each of the nouns. So Forager is really easy to learn because it's using that theory. That's exactly what it's doing. It's working just like Mario. It gives you a couple of verbs early on that are very easy to understand, and then you spend the rest of the game using them on different nouns. And really, that's the point that I'm making. So I've got 64 coins now. Let's just look at one more element of this game real quick, where I buy land. Oh, I've got enough. I can actually buy several different tracts of land. Let's buy this one. Whoa, wait a minute. That looks like a graveyard. Oh, but I don't have a jump button. But I do remember seeing something in the farming section called a bridge. So let's build a bridge. So again, they didn't add a jump to get me across these things. I build. Building is a verb I already have. I already know how to do it. And so I don't need to be taught it. I can just, I can use, it's the same thing, same verb, different noun. So the more of the sort of the expansion of your game mechanics amounts to same verb, different noun, the easier your game is going to be to teach people. So now, whoa. So here, this is another example of same verb, different noun. Now, like I was saying before, my mine interaction is an attack. And now we're bumping up against inventory pressure, which is a problem in State of Decay 2 as well. And I'm just going to leave right now before I try to solve what's going on in my hyper full inventory. So that's Forager. Obviously, this game goes a lot deeper, but the main thing I wanted to get out of it from this playthrough was learning about their tutorial system and how they teach the player how to play their game. So, what that tells me is that, one of the things we struggle with a lot in State of Decay 2 is the fact that our game is very complex and has a lot of different verbs in it. And teaching those verbs is very, very difficult. And I think that one of the best things we can learn from a game like Forager is that the more you limit those verbs up front and have the variety in the game come from how those verbs interact with different nouns in the environment, the easier it is to give the player just a few instructions up front and let them figure everything else out. So with that, I'll wrap up the video and we'll move on to something else. And thank you for that discussion of novels. That was also fun.